down the silos. So maybe if there's a volunteer who wants to talk a little bit more about that one and what your agency is thinking about, that would be great. Can we get a volunteer on breaking down silos?
Can you hear me? This is Kadia with HRDC in Haver.
Yes, we can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll go first because then there's no expectations of trying to meet what anybody else says. So we're really in the beginning phases here, and we're really excited. Barbara Miller was our breakout facilitator, and she was amazing. And we really want to focus on meeting families where they dream.
Mm,
And make sure that we're sharing that coaching model with our staff and our community. But our first steps, I think, are going to be to complete with Liz's presentation is to complete a data analysis of our POCI and making sure that we're serving the population that we should be and that our staff is diverse and our board is diverse. I feel like we're hitting that, but I haven't actually looked at the data to ensure that what I think is true is really true. The other thing that we'd like to do, because we do have a Head Start and early Head Start program, is to just start with looking at the data with Head Start and making sure that we're providing those families with all of the services that they need. And those are kind of our first two steps before we can decide how to move forward. And really embracing we have all the pieces for the whole family approach. We just need to learn how to implement it and make the use of it consistent across our agency. So I
wonderful.
hope that's what you wanted.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. So, we also saw, what is it, changing agency culture, changing roles of staff. Are there any of the groups that were thinking about change in agency culture or changing roles who wants to unmute and speak to that a little bit?
Hi, Tiffany. Wendy
Hey.
Shouts from the beautiful state of Kentucky. And our team talked a lot about that. And I think for us, one of the first things we want to do is absorb what we're learning today and tomorrow. Just for the first couple of hours that we've been in the presentations, we're so motivated to come up with the step-by-step process that we can present to our executive director about moving our agency into a transforming time. And part of that being, what are those strategies and what would those responsibilities look like, not only for the team that's participating, but outside of that team, so that we can involve others within our organization.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you. So, saw a trend also related to shifting from, what is it, crisis mindset to growth mindset. Were there any of you who were talking about that who want to speak to that for a minute?
Hi, I'm Molly from
Hi.
Minnesota Valley Action Council here in Mankato, Minnesota. And we talked a lot about that, just having that shift with staff along with our participants, when maybe coaching or even us as staff working with the families and moving forward, especially during these times. It seems like currently, a lot of families are in this crisis mode of trying to figure out, distant learning, figure out how to run a household, work, and make all those things work. So, really focusing on not just that crisis mode, but looking at the growth mindset as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. And so I want to circle back because one that was in the chat a lot was the was it breaking down silos? Is there another group who had the breaking down of silos that wants to speak to that a little bit more?
Hi, Tiffany. This is Allie with CAP LP in
Hi,
Moorhead.
Ally.
So our group really talked about, of course, breaking down the silos, and we have worked so hard really in the last 5 years to the point of like extreme organizational shift that we're seeing. And we have started to implement whole family services with utilizing a no wrong door tool and really having our whole family navigator start to complete that with clients and kind of across agency-wide programs. So we discussed really just kind of the history of where we've come in the last 5 years. And in the couple of presentations today, we really appreciated that pictorial chart type of thing that shows, you know, in the last 5 years where we've come, how it started, the amount of silos that have been broken down, how that's just been really life-changing for our agency and the comprehensive services that we're now able to provide already. And to really just show up, we feel that that would also assist in the continuing to train the staff within our agency on whole family services, as well as our community partners, and kind of getting them to buy in and to see, you know, what it's done for us to break down those silos to get these programs really working together cohesively. So we are excited to meet further and kind of start building that some sort of pictorial chart on just the history of where we've already made change and what it's done for us with our whole family services.
Wonderful. Very beautiful.
Tiffany,
Yes.
could I just add real quickly to what Allie was just talking about? This is Lori from CAP LP. When Allie was talking about, you know, we really intentionally started this organizational culture shift 5 years ago. So breaking down the silos for us, it took, I would say it took a good 2-3 years, because it's a philosophy, it's a mindset. I'm sorry, my dog. Oh, and you know, that was kind of half of our battle, but I just so have to agree with what Dr. Kroom said about eventually, if people don't want to shift over to that mindset, that type of an approach, then there's not really a spot for them in the agency. And that just sounds hard, and it is, but it kind of comes down to the bottom line of you're either in the community action movement and doing this type of approach, or you're not.
Yeah, there were some hard decisions that Mac had to make, and probably as you all are thinking about breaking down the silos and shifting roles and organizational change, there are some challenging days ahead for each one of you too. What was affirmed for us though was, you know, as that important work, that ground laying takes place, it really positions the organization for some important shifts that really allow you to not only meet the needs of children and their parents more effectively, but ultimately it really positions the organization as a whole to be more vital and more effective across the board. And so thank you all so much for that. I'll point out that it was in your advanced package, and it might also be on the landing page. We have a sheet, it's called the reflection sheet, where you can take notes. And so we know that you were talking and sharing in your agency conversations today, but whether it's the reflection sheet or just the sheet of paper that you have, just want you to kind of hold on to those things that you've been thinking about and noodling over. And as we continue to go into some of the next conversations, it'll be important to notate those things as well, because the hope is that all of this thinking and all these conversations will feed in to some important action planning that everybody will engage in on tomorrow. So thank you again for doing this, and we're going to go ahead and give you all another break. Who's ready for a break? It's going to be a shorter break this time. We need everybody to come back at 3:15 because we have a treat for you. So it's going to get better. So go ahead and take a break now. Come back at 3:15. Thank you.